Hey guys, my name is Robbie LaMattina, and today I want to talk to you about surrendering the things that you cannot control. For most people, if you're like myself, we deal with the reality of feeling stressed out and out of control. It's natural for human beings to want to be in control. And when we feel like we're out of control, or we're not in control, or we don't have any control, we start to feel something. It starts to weigh on us in our minds, and it creates anxiety. But I want to tell you something that I learned that was helpful to me, and I'll try to explain it in a way where it makes sense. And I'd like for you to think about this, because if you can grasp this concept, it's going to dramatically change your life very, very quickly. And so here's the thought and the idea, is that control is an illusion. We do not have any control at all. It's something that in our minds, we come up with this idea like I'm in control, and it helps us feel better. But the truth is we have control over very little, and the things that we have control over, we don't really have full control over. In our minds, we might tell ourselves a story or a narrative, but control is an illusion. So the reality is knowing that you don't have total control of everything that happens in your life. I like to say there's a difference between being in control and being in charge, okay? So we are in charge of our lives, right? We're responsible for our lives, where we make decisions and we have to be powerful and we have to do things. And so we're in charge, but we're not in control. Because if we were in control over every little thing, then things would work out exactly the way we want them to work out, how we want them to work out, when we want them to work out. And that's not the reality. It's an illusion. And so at times, we deal with different fears in our lives, and we try to manipulate outcomes to mitigate our level of stress and make us feel better about the things that we don't actually have control of anyways. And oftentimes, we mess things up in our lives, and we hurt other people by putting our hands on things and try to maneuver it and make us feel better, like we're in control, right? And sometimes that can be really harmful to the people around us, that we come into people's lives. I think it happens actually a lot with parents with their children, that they try to, out of their fears, they try to control their children's lives because they're afraid, right? They're afraid a lot. Well, what's going to happen if they do this? And oh, if that happens, then what happens to them? And oh, I don't know if they're going to be okay. And it's probably better if they just stay in the house and not do anything. So, that's where it goes. It's control because they want to feel better, right? Or you're insecure and you tell your partner that they can't go out and do things without you because you have fears, right? So you try to control them so you feel less anxiety or insecurity about what they're doing. You don't trust them because really you don't trust yourself, so you try to control them. It's not the way it should be, okay? So what is the strategy to get free from that? The strategy, number one, I want to read a scripture. It's in 1 Peter 5:7. I want to read two different translations, one from the Amplified and another one. So the regular translation says, casting all your care on him. It's talking about God, because he cares for you, right? So to me, that is surrender. That I actually surrender the things that I cannot control. I surrender it to who? I surrender it to God. God, I give this situation to you. I recognize that control is an illusion, that I actually can't manipulate these circumstances. And if I do, I might feel better for a moment, but really I'm not in control. And so I surrender it to you, and I take my hands off it, and I say, God, have your way. Surrendering. It's letting go. You've heard people say this, let go and let God, right? Well, that's true. I let go, I surrender, I release it, and I release my anxieties, and I step into a place of peace, of trust, of faith in God, that God is working out all things for my good because I love him and I'm called according to his purposes. There's the strategy. Surrender the things that you can't control, because ultimately you don't have control anyways. And so let's look at that scripture again in the Amplified version. And so the Amplified, it amplifies the scripture. So it says, casting all your cares, all your anxieties, all your worries, and all your concerns once and for all on him. For he cares about you with deepest affection and watches over you very carefully. I love that. It unpacks so well. I like what it says. It says, all your worries, all your anxieties, all your concerns. But here's what it says. It says, once and for all. I only need to do this once. You know, here's what people do. They go to God, they surrender to God, and they say, God, not my will be done, your will. I want what you want, not what I want. And I'm going to release it to you. And then they go pick it back up. They go back and, you know what, actually, God, let me give this a try again. They go back and they pick that thing up. And what do they pick up with it? They pick up their fears, their anxieties, their worries, and their concern. Right again. They did it again. Stop doing it. Don't do that. Don't go back to it. Don't start poking at that thing again, and because you're going to experience the anxiety, and you're going to feel those fears, and you're probably going to make it worse. It's not going to make it better. And so the antidote is once and for all on him, for he cares about you with deepest affection and watches over you very carefully. So you can be confident in that God is actually aware. I believe in this thing called prayer, man. I believe in it. I believe that God is involved in my life, and I believe that he loves me and has the best for me, and he has great outcomes for my life, and that I don't have to manipulate things, and God does things for me when I don't even know, like I'm not even sure how things should work out. I love the scripture. It says that God perfects the things that concern us. So that means that God perfects the things that concern me, that are concerning to me in my mind, and then the things that pertain to my life, he's bringing divine order, and he's perfecting those things. And so, friends, surrender is the pathway to freedom. If you can surrender, you can step into a place of peace. You release your anxieties, your fear, your worries, and you step into a place of peace and freedom. And that's what God has for you. Remember, friends, control is an illusion. You don't have full control like you think you do. And the best thing for you and everybody that is around you and your life is for you to surrender. Trust God to work things out in his timing and not yours. And so, friends, my name's Robbie LaMattina. I hope this was helpful to you. Please leave a prayer request. I'd love to pray for you. I'd love to be involved in your journey through believing God's best for your life and praying for your life. And so if you leave a prayer request, I'll be sure to pray over it. And I believe that prayer makes things happen that wouldn't otherwise happen. So bless you guys. Have a great day.